My grandma was one of the first female doctors in West Africa. So there just wasn't any room for me to assume that women couldn't do stuff. I mean, I studied engineering in school, which I've now come to find apparently wasn't something that girls or women did. Regular childhood, should I say. I went to Grange School in Ikeja for primary and secondary school all the way to, and then went to the UK for A levels and university before deciding to come back to Nigeria and figure the rest of my life out. My grandma was one of the first female doctors in West Africa. So there just wasn't any room for me to assume that women couldn't do stuff or couldn't do, whatever you wanted. So, I mean, I studied engineering in school, which I've now come to find apparently wasn't something that, girls or women did. We were always taught that we could do anything and, achieve anything.
So my parents then were peasant farmers with both cattle and peasant farming. So I grew up seeing animals, or sheep, cow, goats, and then a little small little farm. I will actually give credit to my own father. So he was blessed with 6 of us, and only one of them was a boy. And the boy came number 5. So number 1, up to number 4 girls, then the boy number 5, and then another girl number 6. But somehow, because he had been to the city, he did not want to pass on the legacy of not taking the girls to school. So he educated us. He strongly took us to school, and he would give us big stories. Like, personally, he'll tell me, my daughter can become a doctor. So that's encouraged us. All of us, actually, girls, ended up going to university. But then we worked hard. And then at a personal level, my cousins, my friends, when they were thinking of, and then get married, even now up to this, some people get married really young. When they're thinking about that, my focus was somewhere else. So that helped me a lot. The school I went to was a little bit on the upper side of economy and everything. So everyone looked rich to me. And I was really struggling. And at the back of my mind, and I remember when my mom escorted me and took me to school, those big iron boxes. She told me, my daughter, the best gift you can give to us is working hard. So that stuck at the back of my mind. Even when people go to sports days, socialize, I really didn't have time for those things.
I spent my formative years in Nigeria, then moved back to the US for college. Undergraduate business school, McIntyre School of Commerce. I had some really great professors, great experiences. The smart people were doing accounting and finance. And I thought, okay, let me do accounting and finance also, so that I would look smart. And my undergrad years, I did an internship at Goldman Sachs. I did another internship at PricewaterhouseCoopers. And I hated it. I was like, this is not for me, but I still need to be smart. So I still need to do this whole accounting and finance thing. But when I was graduating, I realized, okay, I don't think I want to do investment banking, and I don't want to do public accounting. So if I still want to do this accounting and finance career, what do I do? And at the time, I had met someone who was an alum from my school and was at Microsoft. He was a CFO of, I think, the Windows division at Microsoft. And he came to speak to tell us about how we could build a career in finance in tech companies. And I thought, okay, that sounds like something I can do. And I applied and got into the finance rotation program at Microsoft in Seattle, in Redmond, and moved all the way from Virginia. It's like a 6-hour flight trip, because Virginia is on the East Coast, Seattle is on the West Coast. And yeah, that's how I started my career in tech.
I was a Nigerian child that liked math and chemistry. I wanted to be a chemical engineer and go and work in Shell or something. So
Okay. Okay.
I definitely didn't think I was being a founder. I didn't know anything about tech when I was a child.
Mhm.
I wasn't, like, I mean, I used computers for like research and for fun, but I, had no intention of being I also didn't have an interest in finance when I was younger. So all of that came when I started studying chemical engineering in university. I realized I didn't want to be a chemical engineer. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. And
Okay.
so I started doing other things that I found interesting, other things and that's how I stumbled upon liking finance, for example. So I did a lot of finance and business courses in university. And then after that, when I moved back to Nigeria, I spent some time working in power because I was interested in the sector and interested in the space. After which,
Okay.
and then I realized, oh, I'm quite interested in infrastructure, but I want to figure out how deals are made and how things are done. And so I, moved and was working in a private equity firm. And while doing that, because private equity, also in Nigeria, it made sense to study for the CFA. So I've done CFA levels 1 and 2, and I have one to go that touch wood I'm going to get
Wow.
around to. And I did
Mhm.
CFA level 1 and 2. And then, so that's how I sort of stumbled onto, okay, I actually enjoy finance. And then, again, stumbled onto becoming a fintech founder. So I guess a lot of my life has been a series of lucky stumbles into things I enjoy and, just sort of following the path of things that I enjoy and things I find fulfilling. Constantly inspires me. She's a law professor and, she was the Attorney General of Edo State, and she's
Oh,
now is doing a Harvard fellowship. So she just constantly shows me that you can continue to learn and continue to grow and push yourself forward. And generally, the women in my life inspire me every day. I have an amazing, amazing, amazing group of friends. I think it is crazy when people say stuff like, "Oh, women don't get along," or "Women don't like each other."
So my mom is one of the strongest women I know. She's a working woman. She's, spent a lot of her years in, kind of championing her career. So I had that as a role model to let me know that I can do whatever it is that I wanted to do, except maybe acting and like drama and anything in the creative space. But in general,
mm.
I was brought up knowing that I could be and do whatever it is that I wanted to do, whether it was being a doctor or being a lawyer or being a scientist or being an accountant. I was brought up believing and knowing that I can be whatever I wanted to be.
So I haven't had many of those experiences just in general. There's also the fact that my co-founder is a man, Richmond,
Okay.
who's Bamboo's CEO. Richmond is a
Yeah.
man, and he's my
Yeah.
co-founder, and he does most of the fundraising. So maybe if
Mm.
I was doing like primarily more fundraising, I had more experiences. I think the funniest experience I had was talking to a would-be investor, and he mentioned something around
Mm.
time of, oh, what am I doing? And I was like, oh, am I getting married soon or thinking about having kids soon? And I was like, no, to both questions. And he was like, okay, because that he won't invest in any business with a newlywed lady or a woman that just finished having
Can
kids.
you
But I
imagine?
mean, I thought that was silly, and he didn't invest anyway, so he probably just wasn't going to invest anyway.
Wow.
But it was just like one of those things. But I haven't had many of those experiences. You do have some people shocked. I mean, I've told someone, I'm running a fintech, and they said, I'm shocked today. I'm not into fashion. I'm just like, what does like?
Wow.
So in my class, it was the first group, so we were very few, were 25 only. And
Okay.
then the girls were 5.
Wow.
And then what helped us most, one of the professors, of course, all the professors, were men, except one. Catherine, and she really made an impact on us. We want to look at and see at least we can survive. But the moment you're out of the class or the small class of 25, because our college, as you would guess, was for STEM science, you would hardly find girls. So, in fact, it used to be sometimes you wouldn't be so scared. It's like you're in a small island. But I think Kenya was doing well then and is doing well now. We didn't feel marginalized. The first time I ever felt kind of marginalized is actually at work, because the men always assume you don't know. Or maybe you're meant for other things. So if you go to a boardroom of senior people in engineering and they see the woman, the first thing they might actually think you are the tea person or something. So it's tough. It's really tough out here.
Being COO of Bamboo is interesting. I mean, it means every day is different, and it means there's a bunch of stuff. I've learned a lot about myself. I've changed a lot. I've become better at multitasking. I've become better at managing how I approach both people and things. And I think it's a mix. I mean, being COO of Bamboo at the same time, having to do stuff like this, and take an hour out of my day to do interviews and stuff. So I'm getting better at it. I have an amazing team. And more than that, I have an amazing, amazing co-founder who makes my life and my job easier. And, it's one of those one day at a time. And hopefully we get to the point where I feel like I figured it out. But today is not that day. We need to make it easier for women to become founders, to enter tech, to start learning to code or know what other opportunities are available. I mean, we spoke earlier about the fact that even chemical engineering, people would say, oh, it's for men. And, same thing for software engineering. Software engineering is heavily dominated by men. And, for a lot of people, that is how they come into tech. Spaces need to be safer for women. People need to fund women more. I mean, I saw a quote somewhere that said women are over mentored and underfunded. So, if you're thinking of a way to help women get into tech, they probably don't need another seminar or probably don't need another, chat. Give them a check. I think if you look at the stats, women, very, very, very little fund flow goes to women. And, that's where the problem starts. We need more women engineering. And I think generally we all need to be more proactive about it around hire, if you want to hire women, just do that, put it out, make a concerted effort to look for women, broaden the horizons of where we advertise, for example, so that we're not just sending to a circle that happens to be full of men once again, or that sort of thing.
I think there need to be more women in leadership in tech for more young people to see that they can be leaders. Because I think young people in general are ambitious. Like, everyone wants to be a leader. Everyone wants to be the best at what they're doing. And if they're not seeing that they can be a leader in the tech space and seeing that they can be one of the best in the tech space, maybe if you're presenting top 100 tech people and 5 of them are women, they're like, okay, maybe there's no space for me there, and rather go into an industry where it feels like they can be more successful and they can be the best. So I think definitely having more women in leadership and giving women that opportunity and women taking that opportunity. I think sometimes the opportunity is given to us and we maybe don't take it. So women also taking that opportunity, creating more space for young people to also know that you don't necessarily have to, if you don't like computer science, like I never liked and explored computer science, you can still have a career in tech. Like at Google, at YouTube, we have people who are creative producers. We have people who are marketers. So there is space for you to be in the tech space if that's a space that fascinates you without necessarily doing the tech.
If you persist and always be authentic, girls or boy, whoever, you can go quite far. And I think that's what I borrowed from my father. So he didn't bother too much about being criticized.